The following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and I can't believe that I want to tell you that there's 9 days left in the filing season, but for the federal government, that is true. And so I'm nine days left for the 2022 tax return, and I'm joined in studio with Tiffany Fabian and Christopher Fabian. Hey, guys.
Hey, happy Saturday.
Hello.
What? You sound like you're in Timbuktu, Tiff.
Oh,
Turn your mic on.
Yeah, turn your mic on.
My mic is on. I'm on the wrong mic.
Wow.
I'm on the wrong mic. Now
There we-
do I sound better
now it sounds like you're here.
Woohoo.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I
So-
just want to know, Esther, before we start the show, do you got your Derby hat on?
My Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
With the flowers?
Yes.
And the
the feathers?
ruffles?
And yes.
And
yes.
the pink thing?
And-
Yes, I have it on. I obviously would love to go. I would love to have gone to the Derby. But
You've gone to a Derby before,
no,
right?
but I went that. No, that wasn't the
was-
same because I went to Saratoga Springs.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not the
to
Kentucky
see,
Derby.
but it wasn't the Kentucky Derby. I would love to go, but too late now.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
We'll do
Anyway,
live from
we
the
got
Derby.
9 days left till the tax season for really is over, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have 3 offices open to help you.
We do. Our corporate office on Colvin Boulevard in Tonawanda. We're opened every day, 9 to 7, Saturdays 9 to 5.
For
Except
Sundays.
for Sunday.
Right, except for Sundays. And then we have our West Seneca office and our Niagara Falls office in the Wegmans Plaza opened on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays as well. So
Right, and so that would mean that you, for those 2 branch offices, you can come in for 4 days. We have 4 more days open, and you can call our corporate headquarters to make your appointment. By the way, people that aren't going to make that deadline can still file an extension, right?
Yep, it's an automatic 6-month extension, and so we could help you with that too. And it gives you extra time to put everything together. If you owe, you're supposed to pay
I
with
don't
the
think
balance.
it's going to be 6 months, though. It's October 15th, right?
Right. Yeah, I would
but
think.
right, but
Yeah.
except for
Because
of
this
Erie
is
County
weird.
and Niagara
Everybody
County.
that I talk to, and my friends in Florida, they go, "What? How? Why are you guys still doing tax season? Because of the blizzard.
what the
The blizzard. Is it still snowing there? No, it's not. It's still snowing. Anyway, so May the 15th is coming up a week from Monday, and that'll be your final day to get the 2022 tax return federal done.
Yeah.
And still be within the guidelines. And if you need to file an extension, we can help you with that.
Absolutely.
Right? Any anecdotes you guys want to share before we get into our subject matter? Again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. You can text us at 716-8030930.
Yeah, I several of my clients have called and said that the amount that they owed hasn't been deducted from their account yet, and so they're getting very nervous about it. And so initially, I was like, oh, we'll print a voucher and we'll have you mail it in. But the problem with that is if they take the amount out of their bank account and they mail in a check, it's going to be so hard to get their money back. So I think I just prefer to do a phone call or something like that.
And then the other thing is many people are getting those letters from the IRS verifying who they are, and it just seems so weird because you have to put all that personal information, what's your AGI from this line, but that is one of the ways that the federal government is kind of staving off identity theft.
Yeah, well,
a real problem.
I know I had a client this week tell me when she called to verify herself, she asked, "Why did I get this?" And they go, "Well, this could be your first tax return ever e-filed." And she goes, "I'm 78 years old, and I've e-filed since it started." "Oh, well, maybe it's the first year of your preparer then." And she's like, "Nope, my preparer's been doing this for 30
Since the
plus
beginning of
years."
time.
And they're like, Oh, well then, so they don't even know what's going on. It's just, they're just mailing these letters out like crazy.
Okay, and if, another thing that EG Tax does, we're not only going to do your tax return, but we obviously will do budgeting with you. We are very happy to do tax planning at no charge. And the other thing is, if you're stuck with a big balance due and you cannot pay that liability, one of the things that Tiffany does is you're our offers and compromise person, right, Tiff?
Yep. I know Sue was at the office doing a return the other day, and she pulled me in. And there's a gentleman who had self-employment. He doesn't own a house, and he owes lots of money to the IRS. And the net after his self-employment is like $7,000 or $8,000, and so he would be a great candidate. He owes around $70,000 to the IRS and some money to New York State. And so those commercials where you do pennies on the dollar really is a true thing.
It does seem. I mean, I know we really want to help people if they're unable to pay, but it is interesting how you're rewarded for not doing what you should do, right?
Well, I mean, I know this leads to
it seems that way. I could be wrong.
I know. I was just going to say, leads to a little bit of a segue for our guest in 2 weeks is going to be Jesse from Cross State Funding, and we're talking to him about the mortgages and the excess fee they're going to charge people with good credit. So again, the good people get punished, and and I don't want to say bad people because people do fall under.
They're not bad people,
Nope.
but the thing is, you have I was raised by family that said, "Oh, you work hard, you put your money in the bank, live below your means, so that you can be a good member of society." And it just seems like what we're saying is, if you have maybe made a lot of bad choices, we're going to take the people who've done the hard thing, and we're going to give their money to pay your mistakes. I mean, it's just like with the student loans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here's parents that have paid off student loans, worked hard, saved the money, the kids got no debt, and now they're going to reward people who didn't have that kind of a thing. And for me, it's very frustrating. I mean, I don't know if it's frustrating to you guys, but it's frustrating to me.
My daughter is dating a guy right now for over a year, and he's done a budget, and like 15% of his earnings goes into savings, and then he puts money into his 401k, and so he's doing the right thing. And so it's just disheartening to see how other people are rewarded. It's just illogical.
Yep, it is illogical. Right is wrong, wrong is right, up is down, down is up. It's just bizarre. Anyway, I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. You can text us at 716-8030930. And one of the gentlemen last week, I said that I would do the investigation regarding digital currency. And I think it's very interesting, and I know we're going to get to our phone callers here, that starting July the 1st, they're going to be rolling out FedNow. By the way, you can go to the Federal Reserve, you can Google digital currency, and so July of 2023, they're going to start, the central bank is going to turn everything over to the federal government. The Fed is going to be in charge, and they're going to do everything instantaneously for banks and credit unions, rather than getting the central bank involved. They're going to that moves from the central bank will no longer be in control. So it's now going to be called central bank digital currency. And there was an executive order that was signed by President Biden on March 9th, 2022, that it ordered the ensuring of responsible development of digital assets. And I will tell you, across the world, and also Bitcoin had something on there's a lot. If you Google it, digital currency, as far as I can see, it's a done deal. It's going to happen. And if you're somebody that is not electronic, you should get electronic, because that's it's coming down the pike. That's my opinion.
So, in Canada, in Toronto, Justin Trudeau, he pulled a maneuver similar to like this. The truckers were all boycotting because of the COVID vaccine. And so Justin Trudeau, in order to put a lid on it, didn't he halt their funds?
Freeze their assets.
Yeah.
Because when everything's digital, they know everything about you. They will know all of your income, all of your expenses, who you're paying, who you're not paying, and obviously it's going to be much less expensive to process transactions, and that's part of the thing. It'll be much quicker. But just want to make sure that everybody listening here understands that digital currency is being investigated, and I really do think that it's coming down the pike.
Well, if they're getting rid of the central bank, that's a done deal, right?
Well, I mean, it's called FedNow. So Google FedNow.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
I'm Esther Gillies, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, 716-8030930 if you want to text us. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back on the other side with your comments and your phone calls.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me.
Hey, this is Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. If you have any tax questions, you want to give us a jingle, we actually answer the phone and we will talk to you when you want to help you. Our phone number in our corporate office is 632-7886, but our phone number here is 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and you can text us at 716-8030930. So we have somebody that's been waiting patiently.
Yep, we do. That's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, Mike. Thank you very much for taking me.
Yeah.
I've been trying to find your listing, to be honest with you, to call you because I'd like to make an appointment to review my taxes, et cetera, et cetera. And
All you have to do is go to our website at egtax.com, but our phone number is 632-7886.
Did something change?
It was-
632-7886. Did something change? Did you owe a lot more this year? Or?
Well, there's questions I'd rather not talk about on the radio.
Sure.
But I do want to consider a new firm, and I enjoy your program, so I'd like to meet with you to discuss it.
Well, we would be honored to help you.
Okay, and is there better times than others to call?
Well, you know, we still have like 9 days left of the tax season. So I think if you call, they can make you an appointment,
call
after
right
the
now.
15th, which would probably be better for us. But we'll certainly would be honored to take care of you.
Yeah, you could call right now at 632-7886.
And they're there.
Yeah.
And they're there.
And make an
Oh,
appointment for
okay.
after the 15th.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, thank
Good
you,
luck.
sir.
know.
Again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Tiff, you're texting this long thing. What is it?
No, I didn't text
No,
anything.
you didn't. Okay. All right. Well, somebody's in my computer. Let's talk about risk and reward. By the way, this whole thing with the central bank and FedNow all goes hand in hand with the 1099-K. We should talk about that because that is the rule of the land this year, right?
Right. Yeah, the new Venmo, Cash App, whatever, even could go into sports betting. You take more than $600 for the year, they're going to mail you a 1099-K, which triggers a tax form. So you definitely got to be careful, and you got to keep track of everything you do.
Right, and so if you're doing a third party pay, whether you're like selling bills, tickets, or something, you have to understand that you're going to be getting a form that you have to put on your tax return next year. And I really see that the whole digital format is becoming very ingrained in our world. I mean, Zimbabwe, I was reading today, is doing digital currency. Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really
anyway.
ahead of time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's it's a sign of the times.
I think, like
and
you
for,
said-
and especially for seniors who absolutely, I have clients that say, I don't want to do it. I just don't know how you can, you're going to escape it.
Yeah, I know. Like you said, I think it saves companies money. It saves the government money, and so I think that's part of the way it's being tossed around.
Right. All right. So, but let's talk about, again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Every investment you do, though, everything is risk and reward. So if you just have your money in a savings account, a checking account, they're not going to give you much in interest, right?
No.
Right.
And so there's very little risk, and believe me, there's very little reward.
Yeah. But the thing is that there's lots of opportunities for interest out there right now.
Well, that's why I wanted to, but okay, so that's savings. Then the next thing would be a CD. A certificate of deposit is low risk, and right now the reward is like 5%. It's fully taxable on the federal and New York state, but it does tie up your money for a specific period of time. Like, for instance, M&T Bank, which is a brick and mortar bank, is paying 4% on an 18-month CD.
Wow. That's pretty good.
That's M&T Bank.
Right.
So,
Which is a brick and
but
mortar
it
bank.
requires, if you're somebody that wants to make that 4% or 5%, if you want to go to internet banking, or 5.5% actually, then what you have to do is say, well, I'm going to move from my comfort level because I can't see a sit bank when I drive my car, but I get 5.5% from this bank that's on my computer, or I can go to M&T Bank or Citizens Bank and get 4%.
Yeah. And so you just have to make that decision.
But you and you have to do it.
Take action. Exactly.
It's you have to make
Okay, so we have a text here, right, Tiff?
Yeah, it says there's two texts. The first one is the property tax credit on New York that you talk about. I haven't received any, as my accountant says I don't have to file, and so I haven't filed for the last 2 years. He goes on to say that his property taxes are $3,300 for the year. His Social Security is $13,000 for the year, and his pension income is $10,500.
Okay, well, did you do the math?
I did do
Chris?
the math, and
Okay, does he
would
qualify?
He would qualify. He would get a
So,
credit of
so
around
it'd be
$330.
NY229,
Yep,
right?
about a $332 credit is what he would
So
qualify for.
you should file.
You should file.
And if you don't file for New York State, they're going to keep your money.
Yep, it's the IT 229, and it was available for 2022 and 2021. So he should file. And call our office. We'll help you. If we just do the 229 for you, it's $60. And so
But let's kind of linger here. So this person does not have to file a tax return, but they are paying taxes, property taxes. And as long as their property taxes are substantially more than their income, then the state of New York will give a refund to them on their property taxes of anywhere from $250 to $350, but they have to file the form IT 229.
yep, that's right.
they got to file to get
So
it.
if you don't want to file, then you won't get the money.
That's right. And so I listened to somebody one day. They're like, okay, you give me 60, I'll give you $332. I'll do that all day long. Right.
Right, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So again, if you're somebody that does not have to file a return, you want to file a return because there are credits in the tax law that give you money because you fit into a specific requirement.
Yep. That's right.
Okay.
It's called that's a refundable credit.
Right. Okay, what else we got?
Is there a tax credit in 2023 to 2030 for any electrical panel upgrades? I think because Kathy Hochul, that's part of what the dish is, switching to electric. So is there any tax credits in the code?
Not for upgrades of electricity, only on things that would make your house more fuel efficient. There is for biohazard, not biohazard. It's going to be-
Biomass.
Biomass. Thank you. Stoves are in there. Plug-in vehicles, insulation, new windows, doors, furnace, hot water tank that are Energy Star approved, air conditioning, furnaces that are the very high efficiency furnaces and air conditioners. But to upgrade your electrical panel doesn't mean they're not going to do it in the future. But right now, that's not the case. But if you have a plug-in vehicle outlet, that is a credit, right,
Yeah.
Chris?
Yes, yep. The plug-in vehicle can be up to a $7,500 credit. You just got to be careful of the car.
No. But I mean, if you put the plug in your garage,
Yep, there is. There's a credit for a charging station.
yeah, that's the word.
Yep, there's a credit for the charging station. I'm going to do one for somebody in a couple of weeks after tax season. Do you know how much it is, Chris? Yeah.
No, because right now it was for businesses. They must be changing that for personal
No,
use.
it was also for personal too. Yep, it is also for personal. We'll find out some details and let you know. But I know it's not in our software, so I actually have to do that manually. But I'll find out some more details.
Okay. Well, I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady from EG Tax. Don't forget, you got 9 days left to do your return or file for an extension. The extension will extend your ability to mail in that tax return up till October the 15th. However, on the 15th of May, the taxes are due. You have gotten a reprieve because we had a blizzard at Christmas time.
Sure did.
And they must still think in Washington we're freezing to death in Western New York. So, but the 9th, the 15th, the jig is up. 9 more days, and we will be very happy to help you. But we're going to take a short break right now for the news. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on your cell phone. See you on the other side.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me.
Hey everybody, this is the tax lady, and to us, you are family, and we want to help you, and we want to keep you abreast of everything that's going on in this world. And I want to tell you, things are, there are things that go on that hurt my head, but we want to help you so that your head won't hurt. I'll just let my head hurt. So anyway, so we have a couple more texts, right, Tiff?
Yeah, you want to go to Mark first before we do the
Yeah,
text?
let's go to Mark. He's been waiting. Hi, Mark.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good.
How are you
The reason
doing?
the reason I'm calling is you were talking about the real property tax credit on your
Yeah.
income tax return. And I did it. I received Social Security, and I filed for it. I got $350, and I
Yay.
got it within a short period of time, too. The only thing I just want to clarify with some of your listeners is if you go to file your federal income tax return electronically and you do not owe a tax or you do not have to file the tax, they will kick it back, and you have to file it through a paper.
You got to
Well,
put
but you don't really have to file a federal return, do you?
No, I did not have to file the return, but I
Right.
did it electronically.
I gotcha. So you're the one piggybacked on the other.
what you got to you got to throw in like $1 worth of interest. You got to have income for the
Right,
federal
something.
government, where Social
you can
Security doesn't count as income, because if that's all you have, there is no income on the right side of the paper. So you got to throw $1 in there in interest, and then the IRS
In
would
order
take
for it
over.
not to reject.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But the state didn't reject,
I
and you did
filed-
get your money.
I filed the paper return, and I had it within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Good for you.
Yeah, so
Well, I'm glad to hear that you got the money.
yeah, and tell your listeners to do it. Why lose $350?
I know.
Absolutely.
That's true.
And like
You know, a lot of times people will sit around and say, I don't really have to file. Do I really want to file? Well, yeah, if you want some money.
I think it's just like you said with the interest at the banks. You have to take action and go do it.
Right, and that's exactly right. If you hear something on the show here that says that this is what you can get, the second part of that is you have to go get it. Because they're not going to, just like with Mark here, they didn't call him up and say, oh, hey, Mark, we know you're overpaying your property taxes. We want to give you some money back. Mark had to submit a form.
Yep.
And you know how I knew to do it, Esther?
How?
I listened to your show. You were the one who told me last year about the income tax return.
Oh, well, thank you, Mark. I'm so glad you got to avail yourself. That's the whole thing. I love helping people, and so it'd be a terrible thing if you just didn't know. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you for being on the air.
Thank you. All right, I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone.
And then
we have
Chris,
some text.
well, Chris looked up the individual charging station
The
at
plugging-
home.
the
Yep,
plug
It's
thing,
a
right?
Form 8911, Chris?
Yep, you use Form 8911, you can get a 30% credit up to $1,000
For putting in the plug to charge your car.
putting in the plug to charge your car. Yes, I'm on the IRS's website right now.
And I will tell
making
you,
sure.
there are major changes to the energy credit, the personal energy credit for your home, and you're going to find that whereas the old energy credit was only $500 lifetime, this is up to $2,000 a year, correct?
Yeah, up to $1,200 a year.
$1,200 a year,
Yeah,
plus
yep.
an extra $2,000 for some of the biomass things.
Yeah, so if your house needs windows, you can do some this year, some next year, and get some more money back through your tax return. It's not a refundable credit. You got to have taxes in order to take advantage of it. So if you're somebody who normally doesn't have to file, unfortunately, the new energy credit's
Right,
not
which
gonna
is
do-
very important. Don't get I don't know, coerced into spending all this money on maybe solar energy because you think you're going to get a credit. You won't get a credit if you don't have any liability. It's not like it's a refundable credit. But what you can do is if you did have a credit coming and you had IRA money, you could take money out of your IRA and cover it by the credit.
That's right. And,
Right?
and get your credit that way.
So there's a way to do it, but if you wait till the end of the year, it's too late. So that's why tax planning is so important.
Yeah, and the text is we weren't sure about the electric panel upgrade, and somebody was kind enough to give us the URL to the website, and so there looks like there is one, and you can claim 30% of the projected cost and get up to a $600 maximum credit. And so we probably want to do some research on that. But again, that's one of those credits that you have to have some liability to get.
Right. And that's the important thing. Because a lot of times these, they're salespeople. You're not tax accountants. And they come to you and they say, oh, you can save 30% on this and 20% on New York State, which is 50%. But if you have no liability, you save zero.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So again, risk and reward. We talked about savings, CDs, money markets. Now, money market, it's really it's very similar to savings, but they pay you a higher percentage. There's no penalty for taking it out early, but they reward you with extra interest. So you should, if you don't want to tie up your money in a CD, ask for a money market, which is still a lot better interest than you would have gotten from your checking account, for instance.
And really quickly, before we leave this topic, I just want to circle back to the grid. And so it has to have a load capacity of not less than 200 amps, and it has to be installed in conjunction with and enables the installation use of energy efficient improvements, heat pumps, central air conditioners. And so it's really important. So when you have these electric cars, you want to make sure that your electric panel can facilitate the charging of these electric cars. And so that's why they're doing it.
Okay,
So
good
just-
enough. All right, and then the other thing is, so that's money markets, stocks and bonds. So the risk for owning stocks and bonds is dependent upon the investment. So it can range from a high risk to a low risk, depending upon the company that you want to invest in. That, when you're buying stocks, you're actually buying a percentage of a company. The reward is from dividends and appreciation, and the taxability of dividends can be up to zero. It can be 0% because it's a very tax favored type of investment if you have qualified dividends.
Right. Qualified dividends or capital gains, depending on what tax bracket you're in, determines what capital gains tax you pay. Could be 0, 15%, or 20%. So, and that's only 3 percentages, where your tax tables have like 7 different So they do,
They
favor
cut
right
you
now.
a lot of slack.
Yep, and this goes for anybody. Like the people who pay zero, because I can hear people out there, oh, yep, there's another thing for the rich. Well, the rich don't pay 0%. It's somebody who's in the 12% bracket or lower
Or less, right.
pays 0% on their capital
But how
gains.
about on New York State? Do they cut you a big break on
no,
New York State for
no,
capital
no,
for
ma'am.
capital gains and dividends?
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
No, ma'am.
So on the state of New York, it says plain old ordinary income,
That's right.
right?
Yep.
All right, now real estate. So the risk in having real estate is if there's a real estate crash, then the value of your property can go way down, especially if you have a higher interest rate.
That's
So
right.
you could own something that you paid $200,000 for, that if there's a rollback in the fair market value of real estate that's now worth $100,000 and you have an 8% mortgage.
That's right. Yeah, I laughed because the commercial real estate market is, I think it's really in trouble because all these
The
people.
commercial real estate market is in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. And so it risk and reward. And so there's some risk right there to people who have commercial spots. And so it's all a gamble. And so
But the reward from a personal standpoint, if you're buying your own personal residence, if you live in it out of a 5-year period and it's your personal residence, the gain on the sale up to $250 if you're single, $500 if you're filing a joint return, is completely tax-free. Now, a lot of times people will say to me, well, I just put capital improvements in my house. What does that do for their tax return?
Nothing.
it increases the basis. But really, you don't have to worry about it that much.
But why would anybody think a capital improvement would be deductible?
Because they got that form from their contractor.
You're gonna have to pay
exactly right.
sales tax.
So what is it that it really saves?
The sales
the homeowner.
tax. So
The sales tax,
if
right?
you're- yep.
So when you get a capital improvement and it's tied to your house, it just means you don't owe New York State sales tax. It doesn't mean it's deductible necessarily. But let's say you put in new high efficiency windows. That would be subject to capital improvement, not subject to sales taxes, but you'd also get an energy credit for that.
Yes. Yep. Like we just mentioned, where you could get up to the $300 per year for doing new windows in your house.
Correct. And so that's part of how real estate, risk and reward. Real estate is also highly favored from an investment standpoint. Like, for instance, if you wanted to do rental real estate, it can really cut your tax bill, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Because generally, unfortunately, a lot of times there's a loss. And so the loss can really be used every year to offset some of the gain on your income tax return. Now, be careful for a married couple if your income is over $150,000. I think that
150.
yeah, and that starts going away. And so that's not a whole lot of
No,
income.
at 150, it's gone.
Yeah. And so it's then become a suspended loss. And so either when your income drops or you sell the house, then it is resurrected.
Right. But the thing is, if you have rental real estate, another thing that they give to property for tangible real estate is you can do a 1031 exchange if you had that rental real estate, right?
Right. It's where you're exchanging a home for another home, an investment property for another investment property. And what you're doing is, so the house you have now, the rental you have now, will say you've had it for 30 years, it's fully depreciated. So maybe your tax basis because of improvements will say it's $20,000. You could sell it for, if you were to sell it for $300,000, you'd pay tax on $280,000. But you could exchange it for another rental. So you sell it, but you're investing the money in another piece of property. And then that basis is only $20,000, but you're not paying tax on that $280,000.
Right. So, and the whole reason I wanted to talk about this is when you're investing your money, everything has a risk and everything has a reward. And what you have to do is balance out, am I interested in this reward because I'm willing to take that risk to save it? So real estate has a great upside benefit.
Yeah, and then
Not to mention on your personal residence, if you can itemize, you can deduct the property taxes and mortgage interest. And mortgage interest is going to become more and more important now because it's such a higher figure than it has been.
yeah, and then don't forget, in a couple of years, Trump's tax changes are supposed to go away, and the standard deduction won't be doubled. Chris, I did a client this year who was holding a mortgage for somebody, and then it finished off and it sold, and he really got stuck holding the bag. Can you explain why it is that he owed so much this year?
Right, because he got all his capital gains that he was postponing by holding the mortgage, getting a little bit each year. He got it all in the year he got the lump sum payment. So they're going to get you. It's just a matter of when.
Defer.
Well, if you did an installment sale on a $500,000, for instance, Tiff,
Yeah.
on a $500,000, and you took payment, now there's $400,000 still owed, and then they say, I'm going to pay you your $400,000. Well, that's the money you should have paid up front,
Yeah.
and so it becomes fully taxable in the year you take the payment.
He was really sad.
All right, I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. I know we have some texts and some phone calls. We'll be back in a minute.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me.
Hey, you got 9 days to do that 2022 tax return. The state of New York was not playing in the card game. They said, oh no, you're all done April the 18th, but the federal government extended it till May the 15th. We have 3 offices to help you if you still haven't gotten your 2022 tax return done. Would be our West Seneca office at 2020 Ridge Road, our Niagara Falls Boulevard, or Niagara Falls office on Military Road by Wegmans in Niagara County, and our corporate headquarters at 1890 Colvin in Tonawanda. And so you can call and make an appointment and we'll help you. And if you need an extension, we can do that too.
Yep.
Right?
Definitely. And
All right. Yeah.
Nope,
Point, Chris.
I was just going to say, it's $50 for an extension, but that $50 gets applied when you later come in to your tax prep, so you don't lose that
Absolutely.
$50.
That's correct. Wanted to talk,
can only
we had a
do-
text about, can you lose money on a market, money market, right?
That's right.
And the thing is, a money market is like a savings account. And, it's insured up to $250,000 through the FDIC. So because it has no time restraint on it, you can pull the money to anytime you want. And unless it's a very unusual money market, you should not lose anything. So, and don't be so afraid. Oh my gosh, I don't want a 1-year CD. What if I need the money? All they do is take a percentage of the money that they paid you back as a penalty, which is, by the way, tax deductible. But it's still better than the interest they would have paid you had you just left it in your checking account.
Right.
I mean, doing something is good, gooder than doing nothing, right?
Yes, it's gooder.
Gooder. All right, and we have somebody on the phone. Who do we have?
We got Marilyn.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hi, Esther. My question is, with this digital currency, does that mean you have to get a computer to do it and you never can write checks again? I have no idea what it is.
Okay, so they're in the process right now of kind of ironing out all those wrinkles. They say right now that they're not going to replace it, the paper dollar, but some of the articles, and again, if you take a look online, you'll see that the people that are smarter than me think that digital currency is absolutely going to come, and paper dollars will be set aside in favor of digital currency. I do not know how it's going to work because they don't call me and ask me, So I know that one of my friends is a missionary in Africa, and she
Frank?
says they have, pardon me?
I was just telling Frank something.
Yeah. And all the Africans, they could live in a dung hut, believe it or not, but they have a cell phone and they do all their transactions on the M-Pesa system. So here you have somebody who lives in a dung hut, makes their living out of goat herding, and they do all of their transactions on their cell phone on the M-Pesa system. So that is to be seen, but it is coming.
That you ask a really good question, Marilyn.
Right.
Do you need a computer? Maybe you at least need a smartphone, right?
Yeah.
Do you have one of those?
I'll tell you,
No,
one
I
of the
don't.
one of the easiest things to use is an iPad. I
don't
think.
have anything but a landline.
I know, but
with-
maybe you ought to think about it. And you know, we were thinking about maybe doing a little class to help people that aren't computer literate about how user friendly the computer can be, and how it can be like the brain. You can be so smart if you can use your an iPad or a computer. But I do believe that computer age is coming. For you. It's coming for you, Marilyn.
Okay, well, thank you for answering my
Thank you,
question.
sweetie. Don't worry. I was having dinner with somebody last night, and I asked him, he's a financial guy, and he says, I'm not worried about this. People smarter than me have it all figured out. So
I don't want to give up my checks.
I know.
It's so funny. I watch it when I'm doing tax returns, and nobody under the age of 50 has checks. It seems like it's very.
It's true, because the younger people have moved to the thought of digital currency. If you think about it, if you're using charge cards and you're using your computer to do deposits, the whole thing, all the articles I read said you've been doing it anyway, so let it go.
Yeah, I know when I give my daughter a check, she just takes a picture of it and deposits it and says,
Right.
"Ugh."
All right, let's go back to the phones again.
Okay, now we got Wallace from East Aurora.
Hey, Wallace, how can we help you?
Hi, thanks for taking the call. I'm getting interested in options, and I'm wondering how they are taxed. Are they, if you make money, is it taxed like regular earnings?
Yeah, because they're short term.
They're short term, yeah.
Yes, like I
So
do
anything
weekly.
held less than a year is going to not get that capital gains benefit, and it'll be taxed as ordinary income, both on federal and New York State.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Good question.
Yep.
Yeah, lots and lots of people are doing options. And Chris, you're going to have to help me out with this. One of my clients on his brokerage statement, I think when he buys options, what does he gets money and he uses the money, and I deducted
Margin
on it.
interest.
He uses
Margin
margin interest, and I deducted on his Schedule A. And so this client that I'm thinking of has lots of margin interest, and so if you have margin interest, don't forget that that's something you can deduct possibly on the Schedule A.
And then speaking of interest, our text is, can interest on a HELOC loan for home improvements help with your taxes? How?
Yes. Yeah, because it's an itemized deduction. But important that your home equity credit line is used for improvements on your personal residence. It can't be to like go on a worldwide cruise or something. My last little point here, and I got a couple minutes to do it, risk and reward. One of the biggest rewards you can have is if you have your own business. But it's also one of the most risky things you can do. And so there is a website called bizbuysell.com, bizbuysell.com, where you can find dozens and dozens and hundreds of businesses that are for sale across the world, quite frankly. And if the business has been making money, they'll send you the information, and you can possibly plug yourself in. Many of them qualify for SBA loans, and you
wanna-
get the opportunity to become self-employed.
Some sad things. I heard Scotch and Sirloin, this is talking about the risk and reward, is going out of business, and they're closing their doors fairly soon. And then I was listening to the news prior to the show, and the Christmas tree store is filing bankruptcy. And so they're all...
And I love the Christmas tree store, but it was weird. They didn't have Christmas trees.
No.
I mean, the first time I wanted a Christmas tree, I went to the Christmas tree store, and they said, "Oh, we don't have Christmas trees."
No.
Okay, that would be like us, serving steak at EG Tax.
Yeah, but
we
that-
don't do tax returns. We just do steak.
On the flip side, for lunch, we went to an ice cream stand, and holy Lord, we waited 40 minutes to get our food because they were so busy. And so risk and reward, right?
Absolutely. Another thing, if you are self-employed, maybe you're a self-employed landscaper, snow removal guy, think about moving to an LLC, a limited liability company, because of protection. You want to make sure that if somebody sues you, and let's face it, we live in a society where people sue, that all they can take is the assets to your business as opposed to all your other assets. So
Yeah, I think-
again, an EG Tax will help you with
I
that.
think Chris helped somebody this week set up an LLC, or he's working on helping somebody. And then there's one of my clients that has a sports studio or a gym, and he's making lots of money. And we talked to him, and he says he's going to set up an S corp, and he's got lots of employees, and that's really what he should do.
Right, absolutely. So again, if you have rental properties, you've got small businesses, think about covering your tushy, so to speak, with an LLC to make sure that they can only sue you for the asset that they're doing business with. So, but again, we have 9 days till the end of tax season. EG Tax is there to help you. You can go to our website at egtax.com. Make an appointment. We certainly want to help you, and we just thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, don't forget EG Tax offers all kinds of free services during the summer, such as budgeting, tax planning. We're here to help you. So thanks for listening. I'm Esther Golias, the Tax Lady, with Christopher Fabian, Tiffany Fabian. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.